welcome. So happy to have you all here today. So I know things are, can you hear me okay? Everybody hear me? Let me know if you cannot hear me because we're practicing a little bit of some sound. And if you cannot hear me or something goes awry, kindly put it in the chat for Ruby so she can make the adjustments, okay? All right, very good. So today, we want to first begin with 3 ohms, just like every day. And before we do this, just remember, if you like doing ohms, the 3 ohms, you can do it at home, You can do 3 ohms before you leave your home. Say a little silent prayer for divine guidance, divine protection, and wishing peace from you, through you, out into everywhere that you go. Very kindly join me in 3 ohms. Oh. 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 Very good. So the topic for this past month has been introspection. And the saboteur of introspection has been internalizing. So introspection and internalize. In some ways, they're very closely related. And in other ways, really, they have their backs to each other. So first of all, what is introspection? Introspection is a way of being able to look at ourselves and help ourselves to see ourselves in a more objective way than we have the day before. I say it that way so that you know that every time you practice introspection, you want to be able to see yourself with a little bit more objectivity than the day before, than the day before, than the day before. So what we're doing is we're teaching ourselves not to internalize so much. I'm going to get to that in just a moment. So we're thinking, well, you can never be perfectly objective about yourself. Well, of course not. But that doesn't mean that we can't improve. We can always improve. Because again, you know how I like to use this word, practice. We're practicing to have greater control over our inner self, over our mind and our emotions, our thoughts, words, and actions. Without that control from the inner self, then we can be more easily controlled by external factors, people, situations, all of that. And now we're just reacting. We're not in a place of coming from our true sense of what we really want or how we really want to speak or anything else. So by learning to be more introspective, asking yourself, what in the world is going on with me today? I see myself overreacting. I can feel it in my hands and in my feet. I can feel it throughout me. I feel shaky. I feel kind of sick. Sometimes that can be anxious feelings, which can morph into anxiety or even high anxiety. So when that happens, because all of us feel anxious in some form or another throughout the day in various degrees. But if we can catch it before it becomes full blown, where you feel it, you're paying attention to your body as well as to your mind. So you know that the feelings that you're having in your body are telling you that your mind right now needs you. The symptoms come through our body. Ooh, I'm exaggerating so you can see it. Oh, right? So those come from, they're the physical externalization of what's going on internally. So as you pay attention to your body throughout the day and you feel your hands clench or you feel you can feel your face pinching, whatever it might be. You feel your tummy not right, and you're not breathing as deeply as you can. Tight chest, shoulders up around your ears. I'm giving you a few symptoms that we're all familiar with. By the time it gets into your body and affects your body like that, and you don't have any self-control in that moment to just shift it, it's telling you that your mind has gone too far into anxiousness, whether that anxiousness is about this or that or the other thing, or it's chronic or it's not. It's telling you you've crossed a line, and now you're not aware of what's going on in your body. The body will always reflect what's going on in the mind. This is very hard, and we can talk really deeply about that on other days. But for today, it's about getting used to understanding that the body can reflect that we have crossed a line with worry, nervousness, anxiousness, whatever you want to call it. And now it's manifesting in the body. See? So then when you see yourself doing this and your brow is furrowed, you need to be able to catch yourself and go, oh, look at me. Take a little snapshot of yourself in your mind doing it so that you can go, oh, yeah, no, this is not the way that I want to go out into the world today. No. So as you do that, you first have your first awareness. That means introspection. Right now, you're saying, my body right now is feeling this way because my mind feels this way. The body doesn't do this to the mind. The mind does it to the body. So the first thing that we're learning about introspection is to become aware before it becomes a full-blown meltdown, perhaps. So we're helping ourselves to be aware that, okay, my breathing is erratic. I don't feel very well. I'm feeling very anxious. My mind is racing. Okay, what are we going to do about that? What are we going to do about that? Nothing. What can be done? Right? No. This is where now you practice self-compassion. So first you have to become aware of it. Oh my gosh, I'm over the top. I'm so anxious. I'm pacing. I'm visualizing the worst case scenarios because I have been for the last 5 days. I have to have this conversation and I can see all the ways that it's going to go to hell. So your mind has given you all of these photos of all the worst case scenarios, and now your body is frightened. It's anxious. Awareness. Okay, that was just me freaking out. I don't have to freak out all day long, but I have been, and now my body's freaking out, right? But as you see your body moving in ways that you don't want it to move, or doing things or experiencing things that you feel very uncomfortable with, know that in order to change that, you must change your mind. So the changes come from within. So the first thing that's available, of course, is to go straight to breathing. Because by the time we start to get anxious because we've been watching the worst case scenarios festering in our mind for the last 5 days, your breathing is going to reflect fear. Because anxiousness and fear, they're really the same thing in different doses, so they have different names. But they're definitely in relationship. So what do? First of all, you want to make sure that in your practice that of introspection, of being quiet, of awareness is another word. If you're more familiar with the word awareness, introspection is practicing awareness. So you want to be aware that, okay, I've been spinning out. I've got to come back to center. So if you practice centering, you're going to know that right away you can start to breathe your way back into center. Because spinning requires a completely different breath than being still. Because when you're spinning, it requires this kind of breathing, right? Again, I'm exaggerating so you can see it. Those fast little shallow breaths, you're not going to really see them the way that I just showed them to you, but they are there. And that will make you spin. But when you start to feel it and you become aware because you've been practicing a little bit, you become aware, you know that right now you're going to have to do the most difficult thing, which is to have long and slow breathing while you're spinning. The spinning will say, no, don't do that. Don't do that. No, 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 no. I want to spin. I want to get more and more and more and more. Mm-mm. This is when you settle yourself into yourself. And if you're out in public, remove yourself if you can. Like I say, public restrooms, not a lot to like there. But you can turn it into your little temple if you're having a moment where you want to recenter yourself. If you're at home and you haven't left yet to go wherever it is that you need to go, center yourself before you leave that door, the front door. So how do you do that? First of all, like I said, you're practicing self-compassion. You become aware of it, and then you help yourself to stop. You help your mind to start to focus on peace. I am peace. This is where affirmations can come in. I am peace. You can say I am at peace, but I prefer I am peace, whatever you like. I am peace. I am peace. I am peace. You see, I'm fighting it so I can show you it won't be perfect. But what matters is your intention and that you followed through. It will teach you to be more committed to yourself, to trust yourself, to help yourself be more centered. Because when your mind is more centered, you have more inner strength. You have more empowerment over any situation that you're going to face that day. So when somebody says something really, demeaning or derogatory towards you, you can find a place inside of you where you can be grateful that you're not them. Yeah, they said it to you, but you don't have to take it in. But we do. And I know that, right? We do. So as you do take it in, definitely be aware that you feel yourself taking it in, because when their words fall on you, you can again feel yourself wanting to spin. And then you're building up all of these words that you have for a comeback or whatever it may be. So again, you want to help yourself to remember that's them. They said that. It came from inside of them. They projected it onto me, and I can accept it or not. Just because somebody sends you an email doesn't mean you have to open it and read it. You don't have to open their message inside of you and let it touch on every fear that you've ever had before. You can remember they sent you an email via the airways here, but you don't have to read it. You don't have to accept it. So when somebody says something derogatory or demeaning or whatever it is, you want to practice, I'm not accepting it. No, I'm not going to give it as much energy as I normally have in the past, because I'm aware it makes me sick. It makes me weak. It takes all of my energy, and it's going to put me into a state where I'm going to visualize all kinds of things throughout the day of what I should have said to them, what I should have done to them. And you really don't want to be in that space, but you know what I'm talking about because we all occupy that space. Maybe once a week, maybe 50 times a week. So learning to come back to center is learning to preserve your inner strength, which is your mental strength, your emotional strength, as well as your spiritual strength. The ability to not respond to an email that you know has poison in it, whether it's a real email on your computer or an email through the airways. It's up to you. Are you going to open it up? Especially if you get one from somebody who you know is thinking bad thoughts about you, and then you get all anxious. I'm going to open it up. No, right now, right now. Oh, look at that. Look at that. Who hasn't done this? Anyone? Of course, right? So I say this to you so that we don't have shame and blaming when I'm talking about these things, just to recognize how energy flows. Because this is our year of learning about intuition, and intuition has a big component of being able for the person, the individual, to be still enough to feel these sensations of thought, to feel the sensation of thought, the effect that they have on us, our own thoughts, as well as the thoughts of others that get projected onto us, as well as the thoughts of wherever it is that we are. Because wherever you go, there are thoughts, there are humans. Maybe they're the humans left earlier, but they leave their thoughts still there. You see, this is the practice of being aware of thoughts and being able to discern what are my thoughts, what are their thoughts. And if you, one of the way is by how we internalize. We internalize the other person a lot. If you're having a disagreement or a full-blown argument with somebody, you're going to internalize the conversations that happened and the conversations that didn't happen. So you're going to be going on to a lot of different movies about things that you feel really did happen the way that you remember them. And you're also going to try on other movies on what I should have said, how I could have handled it in a negative way. What I'm suggesting is that you catch yourself and do some introspection and go, okay, that did happen. And it really totally knocked me off balance. I've been sad all day. I've been anxious all day. I've felt in a weakened state all day. I keep returning to this moment. I can't seem to let it go. So we don't want to just leave ourselves in a state where we feel victimized. We want to remember that you always have you. You always have you to come to your own rescue. Learning to be introspective through self-compassion is, okay, what's going on? Oh, it's what happened this morning. It's just twirling through my mind. Practice self-compassion. Practice. I'm okay. Some real big negative energy was thrown my way today. I'm okay. I'm okay. You check your systems. Where is it still stuck at? Right here? If it's stuck in your heart, it's going to make you like look for other situations that were similar. And now your movie theater is going to play other situations that didn't happen today, but they were similar to what happened this morning. And you have to tell yourself, no, I know those stories so well. I don't have to see a rerun today. I don't have to see a rerun today. So what you want to do is help yourself come back to the moment. I'm all right. I'm hurt. I'm hurt, but I'm all right. So what you're doing is that you're helping yourself to be your best friend. And it's the part of you that you carry you everywhere with you. We're always asking everybody else for help, and nothing wrong with that. Don't get me wrong. But you're always available to help yourself. But I don't know how. But you do. It's just that it's intuitive. And intuition doesn't come with instructions because intuition is about sensing. And when I use the word feeling today, I'm not talking about being emotional. When I say feel the moment, I'm not talking about being emotional. I'm talking about feeling, sensing the emotions that you're emanating or that you're picking up around you. So the emotions are the names of the energies. So when I say I'm feeling anger, there's a wave of energy that's being emitted from me that if I say the word anger, you know what I'm talking about. If I say, "Oh, I'm feeling really sad today," it's an emotion that I'm emanating. Okay? So what we're talking about with the feeling is not the emotion itself, but we're looking at it as energy. I'm sensing, I'm feeling this energy today. Oh, it's a combination of anger, it's a combination of resentment, and you're going to have to be really open and honest with yourself, not in a judgmental way, but just in sort of a diagnostic way. Yes, I'm feeling anger today. Yes, I'm feeling resentment today. That's very different than, no, I don't have any anger, and I'm not feeling any resentment either. Why would I? No, it's very different than that. It's like we're diagnosing ourselves in a way, not medically, which that's a whole nother thing. We're talking spiritually. So to lessen the self-judgment and raise the bar of self-help. Self-help. Here's a term that's out in the world all the time. Self-help. We even have a section at Barnes and Noble, self-help. But you could read 10,000 books on self-help, and it's information. We have to learn to practice, to come home, to be committed to our own well-being, and to understand that by coming back to ourselves and not engaging the way that the other person is engaging with us, we, at the end of the day, are empowered. What you want to do is know that you had a bad day, but you don't have to have a bad night, because if you don't deal with it during the day, it's going to still be with you at night because your mind doesn't go away. You don't like open your head, pull your mind out, rinse it off, and put it back in the morning. No. Your mind is still with you. Now you're sleeping, but it's still doing everything that you were doing today. So, of course, now your body is turning around and it's still doing this, where during the day it was doing this. Now it's in bed doing this. You see, we don't know that we can help ourselves. Again, no matter how many books we read, and I think read books, of course. But what I'm saying is develop a practice to truly come to your own rescue, to help yourself to not say this one word so often. Why? Last month it was try. The try and why words are very overused. Right? I'm trying. Why did this happen to me? Well, try being calm. I'm trying. So these 3 little words can be problematic. Know that if you're being introspective, you're not going to the word why. Well, why did they say that? Well, why? Well, why? Well, that's for them to decide why they actually did it. I understand the curiosity of wondering why somebody would do what they did to us. But the most important thing is, to me, is why are you not helping yourself? That's a much more important question than why did they want to hurt me? The real question is, why are you not invested in coming to your own rescue in that moment? That's the most important question. And if it's like, well, I don't know what to do, this is really terrible. Yes, it is really terrible. And you still have you. And if you don't help yourself, it gets worse, because you'll keep thinking about this thing that happened or the things that happened. And they're still with you. They won't go away. What we're doing is we're learning to put a cap on them. So these bad memories of somebody saying something derogatory or disgruntled or mean or even hateful, they're still with you. Anything that happens to us does not go away. It's still with us. We right now are the embodiment of everything that we've ever gone through. What we're doing is we're learning to put them, I always say, into little boxes. You can use your own visualization, but I'm kind of a box girl myself. So in my visualizations to help myself, I put things into boxes and I wait for a click. And that click helps me to know they're in there. You can breathe easy. For the time being, I've got it in that box, and that gives me space. Now, maybe I can eat my dinner in peace and I'm not just going, right? Again, I exaggerate so you can see it. But if you can help yourself with visualization, and if you're saying to yourself, I don't visualize very well, let me remind you that you internalize the bad things that happen to you quite well. Internalizing is visualizing in a negative way. Internalize, stew, see it, feel it, see it again, see it in vivid color, see it happening this way. If I would have said this, what would have happened? If I would have done that, what would have happened? You see what I mean? That's a visualization that's going on in your mind. And visualizations like that we call internalizing, because we're not letting it go. We're keeping it. And it becomes fuel for a very scary movie now inside of your mind. And now it runs through you again and again and again in a lot of different ways. And then the next time you see this person, that's the first thing you're going to feel. And you won't be able to really fully help yourself. So what I'm saying is internalizing is when you catch yourself just like looking out the window, and instead of just looking out the window and going, oh, it's beautiful, we look out the window and all we can do is we're internalizing something from the past. And the past is a few hours ago to 100 years ago. And it's bad. These things become habits. And somehow or another, we've convinced ourselves that this is problem solving. It is not. You already know you were hurt. You already know that you were upset. You already know that you were misjudged, misled, taken advantage of. You already know these things. You don't have to review the bad part of it again and again so that you remember somehow some sort of magical formula is going to pop out of all that negative thinking and make you feel better. It won't. This is why we do the word of the month, so that we could recognize, in this case, the difference between internalizing and introspection. Because if you're not able to see the difference, then you don't know you have a choice. And with our thoughts, we do have a choice. I wish it was as simple as the choice between chocolate and no chocolate, but it's not. It takes a deeper sense of self. But we want to practice self-control so that we are not controlled by our circumstances or other people. But if you become out of control, you may be wanting to control other people or controlling the circumstances that are around you. But if you have self-control, that emanates from you, and it makes your chances of any situation that you're in turn out better for you, because you're empowered. Now that energy is emanating from you, it's imbuing the room. And that can actually disarm people who are aggressive. And that's what we want. We want everybody to lay down their arms. Lay down those guns of thought. But the only way to disarm another person is you have to be disarmed yourself. You have to be so strong that you know you're not going to wish them harm. Now you're going to have to imagine that, because that's not going to come naturally or easily. After practice for a while, it will come naturally, because you'll know that's the being that you want to be. You want to be so strong that you're rooted in goodness and that you know that that is actually a shield of protection. It's true. People that we regard as masters in the past, they demonstrated this to us. That doesn't mean that they still didn't have to succumb to harm, because people can be very, very insistent on getting rid of those who dare to live at peace with themselves. Don't worry about that. You defy that. So introspection is learning to ask yourself questions. What's going on with me? What's going on with me? Oh, yeah. Okay. Okay. It's all right. It's okay. Now, if you have your 911 kit that I always call it, it's your go-to save me kit of affirmations, chants, prayers, mantras, um, certain things that you like to look at, divine pictures, certain books that you like that gives you relief because it helps you to think deep thoughts, anything that's in there. So as you start to feel, as you go through your feeling of introspection, go to one of the things, open your box in your mind. I say open the box, whatever you're going to do, have a visualization so that you're aware that you have your 911 kit. Or open it up. Remember those old doctor bags from 100 years ago where they would go to the home and they would have a little bag and open it up? You could even do it like that. Or you could do it like a magic sack and you could pull it out and go, okay, okay, I'm feeling really bad about myself today. I feel like I'm nothing. I feel like I'm worthless. Okay, what did you pull out of your bag? Oh, an affirmation. I am enough. I am enough. I am love. I am love. I am empowered. But not over this person. Shh. Calm yourself. Come to your own rescue. Tend to yourself the same way you would tend to someone else. Tend to yourself. Because remember, internalizing is visualizing the past in the most negative possible way. And it keeps us there. And it causes fear. It's just like a movie that's scary to you. It makes you riveted. Like when we pass by an accident, we get riveted. Negativity has such a big, it radiates such big emotion that you get drawn to it, even though you don't want to be. That's not because you like it. It's just because it's so strong. So that means you have to be equally or more strong so that you can watch the movie that you really want, right? This is not about turning on the Hallmark Channel. They have their own things going on there. This is more about coming home to you and self-correcting, being a good parent to yourself, being a good student to yourself, being a good teacher to yourself, helping yourself to actually have a better relationship with your own beingness so that you can trust yourself more. Because what is it that intuition's made up of? Deep, deep listening. Such deep listening that your ears don't even have to hear those sounds, because vibration is moving through your body, your whole body, every moment of every day, because we are vibration. We live in vibration. Everything is vibration. It's very handy to have our ears. But if we didn't, we would still be very aware of vibration. So what I'm saying to you is you want to change your vibration, not just make it be like other people. So let me see, how else can we talk about this? So with intuition, it's not only about vibration, but it's also about trusting yourself to help yourself as you move through difficult vibrations. So, you've heard me talk about this before, but in this case, I think it bears repeating in the way that, like when you cook. Now you can cook. And maybe you've had one of those bad days that we were talking about. So you're making yourself some chopped veggies for dinner. And so you're chopping those veggies, and all you can think about again is what this person said to you. Butter, butter, do, 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 do. The whole time you're chopping your veggies, your furrow is browed. Your furrow is browed. Yeah, your furrowed is browed. Your brow is furrowed. Your brow is furrowed. Your hands have tension in them. You can feel it in the way that you're making the chops of the carrot. I'm just all over the place all of a sudden. And it can also make you unaware of your surroundings. This is when we can accidentally cut ourselves because we have our mind is elsewhere. We can't focus it on just the carrot because the carrot just seems so ridiculously small, comparatively speaking, to this movie that's been running through my head. So it's very hard. So this is what I would suggest that you consider trying is as you're going to chop your food, first of all, find a place of gratitude in front of you that you have food to eat, that you have fresh food that you're going to actually clean and chop and consume. That's a lot. Not everybody has that, as we well know. There are people in all kinds of situations that are affected by storms, war. That's just another type of storm. They're not going to have that, but you do. You do. And this is when you just feel grateful. And please don't confuse being grateful with feeling guilty. If you really want to overcome feelings of guilt when it comes to what you have and others don't, practice gratitude. Practice gratitude. Seriously. So first of all, we practice gratitude, and we look at our carrot and we start to center ourselves so that we are one with the carrot. You might think this sounds silly, but that's because you don't practice it. You might be laughing at me that this will never work, but that's because you don't practice. You can be in the moment when you're internalizing a moment from the past, not the moment right now. You practice being in the stewing, gory moments from the past, and you actually get stuck there. But you don't practice being centered in the moment because it seems so ridiculously simple. Let's see. Practice it this week. That's my challenge for you. So as you're preparing your veggies for your dinner and whatever else you're going to have, I'm just going with veggies because we can chop them, you see. And as you're doing it, first practice something with gratitude. Focus on it. Focus on its beauty. This will take a few seconds, what I'm saying. A few seconds. But as you focus on its beauty, a few seconds, and you feel it, you feel the strength of the knife in your hand, the sharpness of it. And as you start to cut it, let yourself actually feel it. Be very, very present, very, very present. And as you're doing that, how to stay present in your mind is to do a mantra or an affirmation. So as you're cutting the carrot, you can be, God is love, love is God. God is love, love is God. God is love, I am love. God is love, I am love. God is love, I am love. That's better than crap. I can't believe that happened. We can't wait till tomorrow so I can. Now, why else am I telling you this? Because whatever has been in your mind moves through your brain, goes from your brain down through your nerves, out into your fingertips, out through the knife, into the carrot, into your food, and returns back to you as you eat it. So now you have the negativity from the other person and from yourself, and you're consuming it. Everything is energy. If you've never thought like this before, it's going to make you think that I'm being very, very oversimplistic. I am not. It matters what you're doing around you when you're eating. What are you talking about? Are you talking about, let me tell you what he did to me today, and then after that, and boom, right? It matters. It matters. It matters what you're watching on television, if you happen to be doing that, or on your computer, or the book that you're reading. Everything matters. Everything matters. So, as you're doing that and you're becoming more aware, you'll start to change. You'll start to see how you kind of crave the excitement of negativity. Now, you didn't expect me to say that, did you? But we do. We crave that feeling of, what are you going to do? How are you going to approach it? It's a weird thing, but because it's there and it's available, we get used to living like that, or we think that that's power, and it is power, but it is not empowerment. I'm talking about empowerment, being empowered enough to have control over your feelings of anger, your feelings of sadness, your feelings of resentment, and having more access to empowerment with generating your feelings of happiness, your feelings of joy, your feelings of contentment, inner strength. There's a really old story in India about how the environment really affects us. And I have no idea where we're at. I'm so okay. So this little story is as that there was this person who lived in a forest, and this particular being really was not a very good person. He had committed crimes of robbery and hurting other people and things like that. But he built a little shelter for himself in the forest, and he lived in that for a while. And then he vacated the shelter and went someplace else. So he left a part of him there, which is his thoughts, his vibrations, just like you do, just like I do. So some people came, a couple, a man and a woman came, and they came and they were in the shelter, and because it began to rain, they came into the shelter. And as they were there, they had such a sweet relationship that they were not as affected by the vibrations as perhaps somebody else would have been. So lo and behold, there's a monk that comes walking through the forest, and it's raining. And he sees this little shelter, and he sees the couple inside, and he comes in. They welcome him, and he comes in. Now, this is a being who has been practicing very deeply to be sensitive to everything around him. So he comes in there, and all of a sudden he starts thinking to himself, I need some money to build a temple. Yes, a temple, so that everybody could have a better convenience of coming. And then they'll give me more money, and then I'll do this on more. And he even plots to think bad thoughts about this couple, and maybe they have some money, and I'll take their money and I'll go and build this temple. And he's thinking all these thoughts, and he's like, and he's into it. He's internalizing it. He's visualizing it. But his practice kicks in. And he's like, what? What? And he immediately comes to his rescue. He immediately realizes he's been infected by the words, the thoughts, the feelings of the person that has been there before, the person who built it, who was the robber. Now, we're all affected in different ways by it, which is why this story is so important. The couple had each other, and they were generating a sweetness. They were generating this sweetness of, we're in here together and we're helping each other and we feel safe. We have each other. We feel good. We're grateful we have a shelter. You see, as they were practicing being with each other, they were sheltered by the negative vibrations that was already in the shelter. But the monk came in and he succumbed to it. But he had a practice too. And eventually the practice saved him. So I'm saying this to you so that you understand the study of energetics. Everything is energy. Wherever you are, a part of you stays there. And whoever comes in and sits in your chair afterwards, it's not just about crumbs on the chair. You can wipe those away. Yeah, no, this is about we deposit thoughts everywhere we go. So, in order to change the vibration of the world, we must practice peace. So, wherever you go, if you can chant peace and leave it there instead of leaving a mess, we all benefit. You benefit. And if you go and you sit in somebody's chair that there has been this mess, you can feel it and go, oh, yeah, no, thank you. But before you get up, you can, so for somebody else to sit there, deposit some peace. You can still move, but make sure that you deposit even consciously peace wherever it is that you are. So these practices seem so simple, so little. How could they possibly make a big difference? Because light overtakes darkness. We think that darkness overtakes light, but it's not true. If you just think about the physical universe, it's dark out there. But what emerges out of the darkness are stars, planets, galaxies. Right now, we live on this planet and it's shining so much that from space, you can see that the light is turned on. Light emerges from the darkness because it's inherent within darkness. So don't give in to the darkness just because it seems to be all around you, because it's always all around you. It's all around the earth. And what does the earth do? It emanates light. And that light goes beyond the surface. It actually emanates into space. The sun emanates so much light, so much heat, that we get to have physical forms and live on this beautiful planet. Light is the power. That's what makes us feel empowered. Practicing all these little things that I'm talking about today keeps you away from internalizing the darkness and getting lost in there and making the mistake that it's going to overtake you. It will only overtake us if we forget about our inner sun, which is our heart, to purify our minds, our thoughts, and our actions. Be aware of your words. It's not easy, right? But it's a lot less easy to live in a dark mind. It's a terrible thing to live in a dark mind, to where you have perpetual fear, perpetual anger, perpetual resentment. And we have to stop the spiral down, the spinning around, and help ourselves to emanate. It takes strength to practice. Practice, practice, practice. That's what you're here for. Every day, practice empowerment, practice peace, so that you become more introspective, more aware, rather than succumbing to internalizing all the anger that you see emanating from other people. Because when you see it emanating from other people and you deny that you have it within yourself, you are cheating yourself. I don't want you to feel guilty about noticing it with yourself. Just want you to remember, don't cheat yourself. Come to your rescue. Emanate light. Don't let anybody else's darkness overtake you. You emanate the light. So when you visualize, which is internalizing or being introspective, this is light. When you dream at night, you see pictures because your mind is made up of light. Your brain, well, that's different than the mind. The brain is where everything's processed, but your mind is your part of your internal nature, your soul, your spirit. You are not going to die. No. Which means your mind and you go together through time. So your mind is made up not only of thoughts from this lifetime, but all your other lifetimes. Light, 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 light. The light in your head produces pictures. These pictures could be about anger. They could be about losing. They could be about resentment. They could be about joy. You see how it affects the body? Light, light. When you're asleep, everything is dark. We even wear masks sometimes to sleep, or heavy curtains so no light gets in, right? So we don't want any of the outer light because it stimulates, because light is life. It's awake, it's wakefulness. When we wake up, we have bigger auras. Masters have huge auras. Light is empowerment. So when you're thinking and you start to see that you're visualizing or internalizing all this negativity, it's going to harm you if you don't pay attention to changing the quality of the vibration of light. Light. Even if you visualize bright, beautiful white light or golden light emitting from you, that's going to help a lot. It is, because you're willing it to be. You are taking control and willing yourself into light. You already are light, but you're unaware of it. I'm unaware of it. I'm this much aware of it. I want to be this much aware of it because it's has more joy, makes you better at everything. It increases our intelligence. It increases our emotional intelligence. Everything gets bigger because we have less fear, because we live in the light. We're not generating darkness, which can make us fearful, and we don't believe that there's light anywhere. So we emanate bad thoughts. But the more you live in the light, the more absolutely you have more protection. It's stronger than darkness. It always will be. And it is what we all want. We don't see the stars so much anymore because we have so much artificial light at night. But those that came before us, that's why they worshiped the stars, because it's a miracle in the sense of, as human beings see light, to know that we are part of that our planet does the same that all the other planets are doing, and stars and suns. We're emanating light. We're lighting the universe. So over this next month, what we want to do is continue on with intuition, talking about energy, understanding that we've been talking about introspection and internalizing and keeping those practices alive and well inside of ourselves. And coming up for, what month are we going into? May? April? I'm like, where am I? What's my name? So for the month of April, the word to meditate on is actually two words: self-compassion. Self-compassion. Now, the saboteur of self-compassion, this is what you want to be aware of that can take you away from self-compassion, is punitive. Like punishing yourself, telling yourself how bad and rotten you are, how you're never going to be anything. And then that gets so much in you that you start saying, well, they're really the ones that are stupid. I'm not. Well, blah, blah. You see that we live in this terrible way of shaming and blaming ourselves or another person. So we're wanting to reduce shaming and blaming, punishing ourselves and or others, and putting our attention onto self-compassion. I'm just going to say this one thing about self-compassion. When you give yourself self-compassion, do not think it's selfish. It is not. Treating yourself with dignity, with compassion, creates more light, and that you could never keep to yourself. Light, the nature of light, is to spread. So the more that you treat yourself to compassion, it emanates off of you, and everyone around you benefits. Self-compassion. we're going to let's see, do I have another announcement? Oh, that's it. So we do have new classes that are coming up this year. I just wanted to tell you that. And that's in our newsletter. And and yeah, so I say that to you because we are going to have a mindfulness class about energy too. And because sometimes it just takes a little bit of like being with one another so that we can learn the principles so that we can, use them for ourselves in a deeper way. So we always do a little meditation for the next hour, and I do want you to know that please feel like I just want you to know how welcome you are to stay and practice with us with meditation, and also know that you can watch them anytime you want. Okay, so remember introspection, introspection. So termites, termites. You didn't expect me to say that. I didn't either. Termites eat the house down. Negative thoughts eat the house down. They do. So you call somebody to inspect your house to stop that, right? So that's an inspection. Introspection is when you yourself shine the light on dark thoughts so that they scurry away, dissipate. See? Introspection is like a self-inspection. You're getting rid of all the pests and deep, darkness that wants to root inside of you, right? Introspection goes to introspection. So you ponder on that. Till next time. Let us do 3 ohms together, please. Oh, did I? Yeah, I did. So again, April's word of the month is self-compassion, and the saboteur is punitive. Okay. Oh. 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 Thank you for practicing with us today. Peace be with you. Namaste.